If we wouldn't eat it, why would we feed it to our little animals? Because they're mammals too. They're living, breathing things and they need the flesh and the vegetables. Hello and welcome to the Coaches Collab. I am Melissa Natanson, a certified holistic pet health coach. And this is where we get together to have real talk about real pets and our real reasons for becoming holistic pet health coaches. I am joined by my colleague, Sandy Reynolds of Enlightened Mutt. It is a joy to have you here today. Sandy, I know that we were just talking in your neck of the woods. You're steamy out there. You're staying
Really
in
hot.
air conditioning. Sandy's in Arizona. She said she's cooking.
Definitely cooking. 115 today.
So, Sandy, one of the reasons that I'm so excited to talk to you today is because you are one of the OG holistic pet health coaches. And I love your story. And I want everybody else to hear your stories too. So why don't you take us a little bit down the Sandy memory lane and tell us what inspired you to become a holistic pet health coach?
Absolutely. As all of us probably have had a pet, a dog, a cat, someone in our life that has had health issues, and you have tried to get them help, whether it's from your veterinarian or other sources, and it wasn't really successful. I had that same situation with one of our older dogs. We rescued her when she was 11 months and she had IBD. I did not know that when we adopted her. Had I known, though, it wouldn't have changed a thing. However,
And this
I thought,
was Kaia.
yep, this was Kaia. And I thought it would be easy. I would take her to the vet and we would get it figured out and I would be able to fix her, help her essentially. That didn't happen. She was prescribed Tylenol powder and I was just told to go and try to find a dog food that she could tolerate.
Did she
And
find any relief from any of that?
yeah, a little bit. The Tylenol powder worked some. Probably anybody who's been down this road, 15, 20 different kinds of dog food. You know what that's like to try it. It's bad.
Been there.
And gosh, this was 12 years ago. So not a lot of info out there about even cooking for yourself. I even asked the vet about that and he said, no, that doesn't work.
Or they'll tell you it's not balanced. It won't be balanced.
Yeah, he just said that he doesn't recommend that. I said, what about testing for allergies? Because at this point, I don't know what's affecting her. I thought it was chicken, and that was my own kind of rotation elimination. I assumed that. And down the road now, I tested her. She was fine with chicken, and I didn't feed it to her for years because I thought that she had an issue with it and obviously didn't. Anyway, long story short, I just kept trying dog foods. We finally found one that worked for her and caused the least issues. Let me put it that way. She lived like that for many years, would have flare-ups. We had to deal with that. Lots of tummy stuff, lots of days of not eating. And still, I found no relief. Vet visit after vet visit.
It's so frustrating and it's so heartbreaking to watch them go through that. Just side note, I'll pop in here for a second. I am also the doggy mama of an IBD dog, and I share a lot of Sandy's sentiment with the frustration and journey that we've both been on to get where we are now as holistic pet health coaches. Both of our journeys are full of trial and error, mostly more error until we got educated in the right way. Yes. Okay. I digress, Sandy. Continue.
No, that's okay. A few years ago, we sold our business and decided to hop in our RV and take the dogs and just go travel the West Coast and have a great time, take them to the ocean and have a great time. Anyway, I don't even remember how many months we were in, and Kaia had a bout and she stopped eating. She lost a bunch of weight. She was not feeling well, vomiting. It was rough. I was resorting to just feeding her ground turkey and rice, trying to get something that would settle her stomach. And I ended up taking our other dog for a training session one day for just a one-stop trip kind of thing. And I needed to get something different collar-wise for her. So they referred me to a cute little pet shop, tiny little thing down the street. And when I was in there, it was more of a healthy type pet food store. And they had raw goat's milk and all kinds of stuff I'd never heard of because obviously my vet hadn't. So I listened to him speak to the lady he was helping in front of me. And when it was my turn, I got the collar I needed. And then I started asking him about what I could do for Kaia. And at that time we were traveling. Like I said, we didn't have a lot of room, very limited fridge space. So I bought some freeze-dried food, and at least was healthier than the kibble I was giving her. And
Absolutely.
I added my own proteins. So I started feeding that to the dogs. He recommended some goat's milk and a probiotic. And I started that, and she started eating and was doing remarkably better, like right away. I was so amazed. So at that
Isn't it
point,
amazing how much the food, changing the food around to get them on a species appropriate diet, whether it's whole foods, fresh foods, same thing, whether it's a freeze dried raw or a raw, it's amazing every single time I see it happen, how it can turn pets around.
just seeing literally within 2 days' time the difference, and I could tell her stomach wasn't hurting so bad. She was able to go to the bathroom okay. It really was just the aha moment for me, because it was like, oh my God, this is out there. How did I not find this in all my searching? So then I got a little worried because we had to leave that town in about 4 days. And I was going in the middle of Montana, where I'm not sure what kind of pet stores I'm going to get. I know they're not going to sell it at a feed and farm store, right? The girl there used to live in Montana, and she told me where I could locate some. I bought everything they had at the time. And then when we got to Montana, I called that store and I bought everything they had in order to get home. I was just so paranoid now that I found something she could actually eat and tolerate,
Right?
that I wasn't going to be able to get it without an
Right.
address to order it directly from the company, like I could do at home. So anyway, we went on the next month and a half or so like that. I went from thinking she wouldn't make it home because she wasn't eating and she was losing so much weight, to already back to her normal weight by the time we got home. So I was so excited, and she was doing so well on that. And when I was in the store in Montana buying everything they had, their staff was extremely knowledgeable. And the girl talked to me about tripe and raw goat's milk again, and several other natural and holistic things I could do for her. And I was just completely amazed at her knowledge, and more out there that I didn't even know. So within less than a month's amount of time, I had hit 2 people that impacted my life more than I think they'll ever know, because it just spurred me to try to learn more. And I think in all of my searching online, obviously Google knew that I was looking for dog stuff and nutrition. And Dr. Ruth's holistic pet health coaching kept coming up in my feed. And I looked at it every single time. And I just kept thinking, yeah, I don't know. And after 2 or 3, 4 months, it just hit me like, it's literally in my feed every day now. What am I waiting for? And
Whew, got goosebumps on that.
yeah,
Meant to be.
When you've asked someone for what am I supposed to do in the next second act of my life, something that I would love and enjoy. And I look back now and I laugh, because I can't believe it took me so long to just say yes and sign up and do it. Because once I did, and I learned more things to help Kaia, and she was thriving, and she had seasonal allergies, and just learning about quercetin and a few other things. It just, when you see it work, it blows your mind, and you can't wait to shout it out and just tell everybody. I finished the course, and Kaia continued to do amazing. She ended up with lymphoma, and we lost her a couple months ago. But
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Thank you. But she taught me so much in just how to research, and basically to get me to where I'm at now. And I couldn't be more happy that this is the path I've chosen. I love animals, always have. And now I have the opportunity to help other pet parents not have to go through what we did. We've all been there in some way, shape, or form in not knowing and wanting education. I just had to find the right place to give it.
I certainly feel lucky and blessed to have you as a colleague. And I know that so many pet parents do as well. And I just want to mention to whoever's listening right now, if what Sandy is talking about is resonating with you, either from the aspect that you've had a similar journey as her and you really would like to get into holistic pet health coaching, there is a link in the comments so that you can sign up for a possible workshop and find out what the holistic pet health coaching certification entails under the amazing Dr. Ruth Roberts. And likewise, if you have been struggling with your pet's health issues, that is why we are here. That is why Sandy's here. That's why I'm here, and all of the other pet health coaches, because we have been through so many struggles and we've had to learn through school of hard knocks the hard way. Once again, going back to our trial and error, lots of error, but then we dug in. We did the research, we got the education, and we are really able to streamline something and a plan that would work for your pet. That's part of why we're here. And Sandy, I think of us as holistic pet health coaches as the bridge between vet care and pet parents. So often vets are overworked and overwhelmed, and they're amazing and we need them. But research on nutrition and supplements and integrative or holistic therapies continues, which we stay up on. And a lot of times they're so overworked and overwhelmed, they can't. So that's where we come in to bridge the gap. We're here to be a compassionate guide for pet parents so that they can have, I feel like, somebody in their corner. What does being a holistic pet health coach mean to you, Sandy?
I think that you are the voice for those pets, just as a pet parent or pet parents who come to me, and they may have been struggling with something for a long time and not knowing also what else is out there. And you are able to translate that for them and make it simple, because we go through hopefully doing maybe some kind of a sensitivity and tolerance test.
Right.
You can get that diet dialed in. We go through all the labs, take a look at what you're already feeding, supplementing, whatever. And we can just make that so easy with the health plan. And this is step 1, step 2, step 3, and hold their hand essentially and walk them through getting their pet on the right path and doing what makes them feel better.
And I know that we had a long conversation about IBD, how difficult it is to pinpoint what may be going on as far as IBD for a variety of reasons. Number one, it's hard to know which way to go and which test to do. Is this a dysbiosis issue, which is a fancy way of saying there's a gut imbalance? Is this an immune-mediated or modulated disease, which in many cases needs a biopsy? And a lot of pet parents don't go that way. I know that you did some biopsy stuff, and
I did not.
Lily didn't make it out the room before I closed the door, so she will be joining us today here and there. And back to IBD, and it's, do they need a fecal transplant? Is it an issue of they need more probiotics? Do they need less probiotics? Could it be SIBO? Is the stomach involved? Is the pylorus involved? There's so many things that can go along with it that really can be a lot of trial and error. But for pet health coaches like Sandy, and like a lot of us, we've been through this. We've been through the steps and done all the tests and gone down all of the avenues. So that really makes us able to guide you better. What are some of the things that helped you the most when you became a holistic pet health coach and on your journey in regards to IBD? What was there a test that stuck out to you, or something that you were like, there we go?
I
was missing that
testing. In all honesty, changing the diet, getting the microbiome sealed and healthy, adding in probiotics, which I wasn't doing until right before I did the program, doing raw goat's milk. Honestly, those were just so much an improvement and such a help to her. We've had a few other issues and had to add a few other herbs and things like that in between. And just with my clients, I find that a lot of times, if you are just aware enough and you can help the gut or wherever that is coming from, lots of times they do come to us with a diagnosis or a biopsy already, which makes it so much easier. In my case, I didn't have the test, so I had to go the route of trial and error and changing diet, that kind of thing. But the results were astounding. And I just cried over the fact that She wasn't in pain. Oh my gosh, this poor dog had normal bathroom habits. She had never had that hardly in her whole entire life. And
Sweet Roxy. Or
those
Kaia, I'm sorry.
that's okay. Oxy's snoring behind me if you can hear her.
Both got our little pumpkins with us. I'm just continuing to scratch Lily's head so she doesn't stick her hiney in the on the screen. Okay.
That's okay. And I think it's different for every person and every journey and how long it's been. For me, it just kills me that it took me 11 years to help Kaia, basically. What in the long run, she felt so much better the last couple of years of her life until the cancer. And I have to just continually tell myself, at least I found that, and it led me to be able to help other people with the same type of issues. And it doesn't even have to be IBD. Roxy currently is in remission with mast cell tumor. I have her on Dr. Ruth protocol, and that's been going on. I want to knock on wood because just going through losing Kaia, it's been emotional, and we're happy to have Roxy healthy and here. But just day by day, I do what we need to, and she feels amazing. And
Sandy, can you talk about what a mast cell tumor is so that people know a little bit more about what happens when you're faced with a mast cell tumor and the histamines and how that kind of takes over?
Yeah, Roxy's a boxer, and they're predominantly prone to mast cells. They can be internal, they can grow inside of the organs, heart, and everywhere else, lungs, you name it. That's the part I think that scares me the most, is that I won't know if she has them inside. Hers were on the outside. She had both of them removed. They were level 2, which is not great, but not super bad. All the margins were clear. So that's why I'm really hopeful and thankful right now. But depends on what you feed them. That makes a big difference as to how much histamines are released and those kind of things, keeping anti-inflammatory foods and quercetin and a whole host of other things. I think if most people saw what she gets daily as far as supplementation, they would probably think it's a little excessive. But to see her health where it's at, and that we've been able to stave off the more tumors, it's just a testament to it's all working. And once someone sees herbs and natural things that don't give your pet side effects, that they do work, and how much better the pet feels, you really just, there's no other way. I would not go down this another path. It's just been amazing. And just the satisfaction to know that you are the one who is able to help your pet. And I'm pretty proud of that, because it's taken me a lot of years of research and trying to figure out how to help Kaia. And now that I have the knowledge from this course, and I can cover lots of different things, and I don't panic now when something comes up.
Right. I was just going to bring that up. Man, I used to have some panic moments with my little one, because literally anything could set her off and send her into a flare that more often than not, we would end up in the ER with getting sub-Q fluids and whatever else that might entail, because we were having rounds and rounds of vomiting or diarrhea. And it was so difficult. And I didn't know what to do. And I think one of my biggest sticking points, at least for me anyway, a lot like you, is what am I going to feed this girl? I was in Orange County at the time. This was 10 years ago when Dr. Jean Dodds came out with the NutriScan. So jumped on that. I didn't know about the Glacier Peaks at that time. If anybody's interested in a great intolerance test, we have Glacier Peak Holistics, and I can put in a link to that if anybody is interested. And she came back allergic to everything. Everything, because she had IBD and leaky gut. We could go into the gut stuff about this, but because she had those things going on, lots of times if there's an immune reaction to one thing and the IBD is going along unchecked, then in a lot of cases, the pet will continue to form antibody reactions to any other foods that were fed with it or that they were exposed to at any time. So after I got that test back, I had no options, zero. Everything on there came up, and I was in an absolute panic. That is when I started studying dog nutrition, because I had to figure it out. Luckily, at the time, they sold kangaroo, in California. So I got her through it by started making my own diet with kangaroo and other things. And I got the same thing you did. I had a great integrative vet at the time, but there just wasn't a lot of trust in people making food at home for their dogs that would be balanced. But the good news is that we can do this. It is super empowering to know that we can feed our dogs wonderful fresh food at home. We've got the Crock Pet diet on our side, Dr. Ruth Roberts. She is the brain behind the Crock Pet diet, which is complete and balanced, and you can rotate proteins, which is great for IBD, and rotate the other things. What are you feeding little Roxy these days?
She is on the Crock Pet diet. She gets no carbs though. We've got to keep all the histamines and everything out of there. That's her base. I rotate it between 3 different proteins. And it's funny because we rescued her when she was 5, and the people we got her from had no idea what even brand bag they would buy her from the grocery store, but she wouldn't eat. I literally would sit on the floor with her. Part of it was because of her anxiety. She didn't want to be left alone. However, she just didn't like kibble at all. She did gain enough weight where she came back to normal a couple of months after we rescued her. But for those first few years before I started feeding her the Crock Pet diet, it was rough. I thought this dog just didn't want to eat. But now that I feed her the Crock Pet, she literally talks to me. She whines, she barks. If it's breakfast or dinner time and my rear is not in that kitchen getting that ready, she is leading me there and letting me know. And I think that's one of my favorite things when clients send me videos of their pets going for the Crock Pet food or sitting there waiting by the counter. It just warms my heart because as pet parents, we want to do what's right and what makes them happy and feel good. And your human family may not show you how much they appreciate all the hard work you do when you cook and you clean or you make something for them. But I'm telling you what, your pets will fully give that back to you 150% because she eats so well now and loves her food. Honestly, I could hardly have to even clean the bowl because
I've experienced that. It's just so great. I love hearing about this, and I love your story. Audrey just popped on and said, yeah, it's hard when you've got a lot of sensitivities. And Audrey is another holistic pet health coach under Dr. Ruth. And she said, this week's diet is bison. Really, the sky is the limit when it comes to what you can do with Crock Pet or with working at home. A holistic pet coach can also give you some guidance on if the Crock Pet doesn't work for you, on how to freshen up the bowl a little bit and make
toppers
these
are
meals.
A great idea.
Toppers are great. And think about it, really, when you think about it, why are we feeding our doggies burnt brown balls? That's what I call them, AKA kibble. How would you like to just sit down to a nice meal of burnt brown balls there, Sandy? Yeah. And I think where we're turning the tide is that if we wouldn't eat it, why would we feed it to our little animals? Because they're mammals too. They're living, breathing things, and they need the flesh and the vegetables. Sorry, she's going to be here the whole time.
That's okay.
just so everybody knows. I hope she's not distracting. I'm trying to not let her distract me. But Jeanette has a question for us, and she asks, is the Crock Pet diet an online course? Sandy, you want to take that one, or you want me to?
Absolutely. You can purchase it from Dr. Ruth's website, or if you want advice or guidance with any kind of testing, any of us holistic pet health coaches are happy to help you develop the diet and get it dialed in for your pet.
Jeanette, I hope that answers your question. And there are links to both to Sandy and to the Holistic Pet Health Coaches and Dr. Ruth's website in the comments. If I have a chance here while we're going along, I will try to get one specifically for the Crock Pet in there. Should have that going. So hopefully that helps you out. And of course, please comment with any other questions if you've got that. So do you, Sandy, want to talk a little bit more about how being a holistic pet health coach helped you with Kaia in her final time? I know that was tough for you. We've got so many pet health coaches that have experienced this, and I think it serves all of us when this becomes more of a broad conversation, both about how we're caring for our pets near the end and just the loss in general, because this is tough stuff.
It's nothing that we all want to go through. But we
Oh,
know at some point they don't live forever. And you try not to grieve the loss before it happens, especially with a pet when you know they're terminal, but also being thankful that you've had them for as long as you have and that I helped give her a more comfortable, better life in the last couple of years. It's better than not learning and finding out how to help her at all. But knowing what I learned going through cancer, and there are options to help them to relieve pain and discomfort and all of that kind of stuff, it really made her more comfortable and she could be with us longer. And I'm forever grateful for that knowledge, because I think when you notice that they're in pain or they're not doing good and their quality of life is diminishing, you may have to say goodbye sooner. With the help of another pet health coach like yourself, I did some animal communication with her many times just to make sure that she was feeling okay and doing okay initially until we had to say goodbye. But it's not talked about much. I've had animals my whole entire life, but as far as end of life and palliative care, because I see sometimes that people hang on too long and the pet is suffering severely. And that's really difficult too. So, something I want to develop more in my practice is to be able to help people through that. Losing, this is my first dog, I guess, that I've lost since being in the program. I had a dog with cancer previously 8 years ago. And that was more traumatic at the end because I didn't have those other options. And the side effects from pain pills and things like that, it was not pleasant. And so I think that if we talk about it more, and people just learn, and you can be prepared ahead of time, as well as mentally and emotionally, you can prepare for what you can do and to know when time is time.
yeah. You're so spot on with that, Sandy. That's a little bit what Sunny and I talked about on the last coaches collab. Is this is such a rough time, and it's so hard to go through when our little fur children are going through this tough stuff. And I'm so sorry you had to go through that. I like to think, and I do think we need to open the conversation more in regards to end of life and how to deal with the grief, because it is so profound. There's so many studies showing that the loss of a pet is more impactful than losing humans in your life in so many cases.
Absolutely. Because
And I guess I open it up because I want this to be a bit of a cathartic conversation. And to anyone listening, if this resonates with you, if you're struggling with maybe an end of life decision, or if you are struggling with maybe some health choices or challenges in your pet where you're thinking it may be the end, reach out to Sandy, reach out to one of the coaches. There's several that have been through this and specialize in this. And I have to think of us as your pet's partner in health, but we can also be the partner when they're transitioning to the other side, because we're here once again as a compassionate guide and as a support to you. What do you think, Sandy?
absolutely. I think one of the things that helped me a lot was, sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. I know this is so tough. And you know what? The tears, I like to, when those tears come, those are the cleansing tears. You know that they say that there's a difference between mad tears and grief tears? They say that the composition of grief tears is different. And actually, when you grief cry, it's your body's way of cleansing. Just
I believe
wanted
that.
to, yeah,
I think
wanted
that,
to share that.
and I think that I cry happy tears. I'm not sad for Kaia. I just miss her. And I honestly don't think I would have done anything different with her. Since we're talking about the end of life or palliative care, for us this time we did a hospice vet that came into the house. And if anyone hasn't done that, that was amazing. And I
Yeah.
think setting them off at home with their family is the best gift that you can give them and yourself.
Yeah.
Also, doing a bucket list of things with her that Melissa had given me that she liked with me specifically. She can't tell me those things. Whereas an adult, if you are with a terminal illness and there's say 5 things that you haven't done in your life that you want to do, you can at least speak that to your family or yourself, and you can maybe make those happen. It's hard at the time because you know that that's your pre-beginning to say goodbye, but afterwards you have the wonderful memories and the time that you've spent doing those things, and it really does make a huge difference. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not crying sad tears. It's just for
It's an emotional release nonetheless, because this is a lot to talk about. And sometimes I think that they can be a mix of things. And you know what? Your tears are always welcome here. And to anyone that is listening, please know that once again, so many of us have been through these struggles. Look at Sandy's big heart. This woman has taken her experiences and put them into her passion for being a holistic pet health coach. And when you have a coach on your side that has this kind of passion, you've got a good one. As so many of us do have. And Sandy is here for you. And I know we talk about the heavy stuff. Lots of people are sending you lots of love on this live today, Sandy.
Thank you, everyone. I think
and Lily really is, because she just won't stop. And speaking of, when the Melissa she's talking about is not me, it's Melissa Sherman. She's another colleague of ours. She's amazing. And she is a fantastic animal communicator. I do animal communication as well, but it's really tough to do on your own animals because there's emotions involved when it's tough things. So I like to reach out to her and other resources. She's a great one. And I know she's helped both with us. And I think Lily is trying to talk to her right now. She's definitely trying to talk to me because she just won't stop. And she's telling me that she sends big hugs, Sandy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think that the animal communication part is something that is not really talked about, because until I met you and Melissa Sherman and other coaches that have this beautiful ability through this program, I really didn't know anything about it. And I'm open to it, and it's been beautiful. Melissa has talked to a few of my animals, my son's cat, and if someone is needing some information, it's really helpful, especially I think to your heart, and to know that they're able to validate things for you. And obviously, I think our pets love us no matter what, and we're doing the right thing for them because we try so hard. But to have them be able to say, yes, that you are, I guess it just, it seals the deal. It just makes you feel like you have tried your hardest. You've done absolutely everything you can. Because once a pet does pass, you always have those doubts of, should I have done something different? Should I, woulda, could I? And
right.
I didn't have that with Kaia. And I am so thrilled that I am now cry happy tears. I miss her terribly, but versus the last pet we lost, it was so much different. And I wish I could have had communication with her, especially because I didn't know how to manage the pain any better. Now I do. But I think that all of us pet coaches are amazing, and we do this because we love animals and we want to be their voice, and we can help figure out those stomach issues, those allergy things, whatever it is. We don't necessarily have to talk to them, so to say, but with sensitivity testing, rotation elimination, just getting the food dialed in. Maybe they have some stagnant wind or blood or whatever with TCVM. Those things make a huge difference too. So if people don't know how to do it themselves and they're looking for someone that can help guide them, like we talked about, we can put it into an easy plan to follow, and it just makes it so simple. And then you just get to see the great results, and voila, your pet feels amazing. It really, it's one of the best things when clients message me or email me or call me and I cry with them. A lot of times it's just sheer relief, because like you and I, if you have had an IBD dog, say, and everything you have gone through and how bad you feel for them, and you can't help them, and you're doing everything you can, and you spend all this money and you're still not any different.
I always say, spend the money on their health and you're going to spend the money on their health instead of their sickness. Sometimes when we get to that, it's a different story when you're having to go somewhere at end of day stuff. We're here to provide health plans too. For even if your dog is healthy, let's keep them that way. If your kitty's healthy, let's keep them that way. We're here,
Absolutely.
it's like a marriage. We're here for good times and bad.
Yep. I have to say, so my daughter was really busy when I started Dr. Ruth's program, and she had 2 dogs. They had just adopted a little 12-week-old pit bull mixed puppy, and he's adorable. The appetite of a giant Clydesdale. Let me just
That's a good description.
Yeah, he could literally eat a 5-gallon bucket of food and not even slow down or blink his eyes. And then her other little dog was an older corgi pit bull. And she had lipomas all over her body, itching, scooting bottom, ear infections nonstop. And she was really busy with work. And I was just doing this and didn't have a lot of clients yet because I was just starting. So I just started cooking for them. And the lipomas started shrinking. Her little dog lost inches. She went from a large collar, and now she's on the tightest setting on a medium. The inflammation, you could just see her shrinking down. And just to see the transition and how much better they feel, no more ear infections. My daughter has saved so much money on not having to go to the vet just to get anal glands expressed, ear infections taken care of. And I think she's probably one of my biggest promoters because I was too busy to really focus on that. My mom did that in the beginning and then she took it over. But when she would just come home from work and see the transition already happening before her eyes, it literally blows your mind. I don't think that we realize until you see just what food and whole nutrition can do.
I love hearing these success stories. And once again, I just want to say, if any of this is resonating with you, there are links in the comments to find a coach. And also, if you feeling called to become a holistic pet health coach, there are also some links in the comments to find out how you can sign up for a workshop to find out more. And I also just want to go over here, take a minute to, I know we've talked a lot about what we do, but just to go over our education. Our education is based in functional medicine, TCVM, which is traditional Chinese veterinary medicine. We learn about nutrition. Many of us have studied nutrition outside of this program for years. In addition to, we also learn about integrative things. We can work with your vet, supplements, environmental factors, which flea and tick things may not be optional for your dog. Say if your dog were to have kidney disease and on a toxic load of a flea and tick medication, which can continue to burden the kidneys or the liver. So these are the kind of things that we look at. We really look at the whole picture. And that's part of what makes our role special, is when we are holistic pet health coaches, we're dealing with the whole animal, mind, body, and soul. And speaking of, I wanted to ask a question. I wanted to know how you came up with your name. I love it. Enlightened Mutt. I'm going to show it again. I just love it.
I think anybody who started a business, it knows it's just so hard to find something that resonates with you. And in part, the enlightened part came because I really felt that I was mind blown. I was so just enlightened with the knowledge and profound difference that made in my life. And I thought it was the perfect way to describe my business. And Mutt, I felt, was just an endearing term for our dogs. It doesn't mean that I only work with dogs, but it's my primary concentration, just client wise. But yeah.
Thank you, Sandy. Okay. So are you ready for the fun part? We did the heavy stuff. We got to balance this out. We're about balance here as holistic pet health coaches. So if we got some tears, we got to have some laughs too.
Good.
So now come and see, and I get really excited because I have a banner. Pet perks and pet peeves. All right. So Miss Sandy of Enlightened Mutt, if you could just wave a magic wand and do away with 3 things, those would be your pet peeves. Rapid fire. Go.
Let's just say prescription and nasty kibble would be number 1. Oh my gosh, what did I think was my second one?
I think you were talking about not having enough information for parents.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because look, you and I are perfect examples. We had issues with pets, and honestly, it's been more than 10 or 12 years, but at that time, there wasn't a lot of information for us to find out there, let alone what is accurate, right? There's so much stuff on the internet that you have to decipher what is good, what is not, that kind of thing. Third, what's that?
I said, those are great.
And then what did I put for my third one?
Let's see here. I think we were talking about, and this is, I think it was more of a little request. It's we hope that you come to us with an open mind and open heart.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I think that's more of a pet perk, but
Yeah,
I know we had talked about if you're totally closed down to any other options, it might be tough for us to help you because we've got a lot of other options. So I guess it can be a pet perk and a pet peeve that we hope you come to us with an open mind and an open heart with your pet's issues so that we can give you the most and the best info possible. Okay, so on to, yeah. So the good part, what are some of your pet perks, some of your favorite things, products, things to do, food, etc.?
I love the crock pet diet.
Yes.
And I love a topple. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who know what that is.
I didn't know what this is.
Yeah. So
can you help?
Kind of like a clong, but it's open at the top. And then it has little leg stands that's like a dog butt or a dog, whatever, to hold it in place for your dog. But you can fill that with their food, frozen treats, raw food. But then they can sit down and hold it with their paws, and it takes them a long time. It's not super small inside like a Kong. Like I said, it's more open on the top, but it is just a great enrichment, and they just enjoy getting whatever out of there you can. And
this
since we live here, doing frozen stuff in the summer when it's hot is just a bonus, and they love it.
That is a great tip. As a Yorkie mama, she never stops. And she's so dang smart. She needs things to do. All dogs need things to do. It's very important to have enrichment things. So Delora was asking, is this the way you spell it? Is it toggle or topple?
No, topple. T-O-P-L.
Okay, let me see if I can put that in the comments.
They're absolutely amazing. I literally love them.
And then the other, okay, let me get that in there for you. Because I was having a little bit of a hard time. And then the other thing that you had mentioned that you love, and I love too, was the mat, the PEMF mat. Tell us about that.
That is one of the things that helped Kaia be so comfortable just with her arthritis in her knees and ankles and stuff. And there's a little tip. Most everything shows that they lay on top of the PEMF mat. And even though Kaia loved blankets, pillows, beds, whatever, she liked it over the top of her like a blankie. And you can use it either way. But the PEMF mat has 3 different settings. So you can do pain, healing, or anxiety. And it's rechargeable. And it's a staple in our house. My pets absolutely love it.
It is a great one. And feel free to reach out to Sandy or me or any of the coaches for a link to that if you're interested in it. And just for a little more info, the PEMF is pulsed electromagnetic frequency. All beings have a pulse and a frequency, and this is set to match a frequency that would be in homeostasis with alleviating anxiety or pain, or they even, like Sandy said, have a setting for healing. So did I get that all in there?
You did.
Okay. This has been a great coaches collab. I am enjoying getting to talk with all of you more so much. And everyone has such a wonderful story, and hearing about who you are and what you do really it just makes my soul sing. And I hope that those that are listening are finding this just as beneficial. Is there anything you want to add before we wrap this up, Sandy?
No, thank you for having me. I love to spread the word. I feel like we can't scream from the mountaintops enough about what a pet health coach can do for you and your pets, because it's literally life-changing. And my dogs have improve their health, feel better, and just giving yourself, whether you're working with a coach or you want to do the school, having the ability to not panic when something happens. You automatically go on instinct, or, hey, I'll call my pet health coach. Or in our circumstance, we can reach out to other pet health coaches if it's something weird and off the wall that we want advice on, if somebody else has dealt with it. So having a network of other coaches that are amazing and maybe have different backgrounds and different knowledge in schooling, because so many people have different certifications. And I think that's one of the things I didn't even think of when I signed up. Once you go down this rabbit hole, you are never going to stop. I am trying to learn all the time. We get so many opportunities to do good webinars and learn things from world renowned vets. And I love all of it. So I literally take notes, and I have binders, and I have categories for everything. I don't forget anything. And it's just been a pleasure to learn so much about it. And I don't think I'll ever stop.
Said, Sandy, very well said. Lifetime students, and you're right. We have such an amazing group. We have such an amazing team. We've all got each other's backs in the way that we can go to each other. And when you've got a whole bunch of brilliant minds where you can bounce ideas off of each other, or if I don't know something and Sandy will know, if Sandy doesn't know, then somebody else will know. And that's the way we work. And the education through Dr. Ruth, as you said, continues every single day with our resources. We're always reading studies. We're always reading new articles are coming out. We're always going to a webinar. We're always continuing our education, and that education is here for you. So with that, Sandy, thank you again. Oh, Lily's coming to say goodbye. Sandy, thank you again. Wishing you all a happy weekend. Thank you all who joined for your support. Thank you, Lily. We really appreciate your feedback. I appreciate your questions, Jeanette. We will answer yours when we get out of this live. And with that, goodbye and positive vibes.
Thank you. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Take care.